All right, good morning. I'm in Matthew chapter 17, and as promised, we're going to look at the 6 days in verse 1. But what we were pointing at here was the verse 28. Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Now let's read verse 1, 2, and 3 to 5. And after 6 days, see how, always be careful that you don't treat these chapter markings as like the cutting off of one story and the starting of another story. These have been put here for our benefit, for reading the scripture, but the story continues. And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John, his brother, and bringeth them up into an high mountain apart. Now you've got to ask yourself as a Bible believer. And Jesus made this comment. He said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. So you've got to ask yourself, why would God, in preserving his precious word, inspire it, choose to include little details such as, and after 6 days? If you're a Bible believer who truly loves this book and believes every word of it, every little letter of it is from God, you do have to ask yourself, why did he put in after 6 days? What does that add to anything? Why did he take up time and page and the scribes writing down and after 6 days? You've got to ask yourself that. Let's read the next few verses and we'll come back and talk about it. And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into an high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. You know what, we might just leave it there, because I don't think I'm going to have enough time to talk about everything else. But some people say, last video, you can go back and have a look at the video which is called See the Sun. Some people say that the fulfillment of this verse was Peter, James, and John seeing Jesus being transfigured, as if that was the seeing the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Which, you know, I don't think you need to believe that, because I think from what we can read in the book of Revelation, from what John actually saw, as I talked about in the other video, we don't necessarily need to believe that, because I don't think him being transfigured is a full picture of him coming in his kingdom. But I could be wrong. I'm happy to be corrected on that one. I just don't see it that way. But what I look at is after 6 days. Now I'm going to go back and refresh our memory here and look at 2 Peter chapter 3 for this little. Now, before people get angry at me and telling me off that I'm using this verse as a formula when it's not a formula, you need to relax first of all. Let's just read it and I'll make a comment. 2 Peter 3:8, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing. So that's pretty important. Don't be ignorant of this. That one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So God sees time differently. He sees obviously all time as in a moment, but he gives us those numbers. 1,000 years is one day, and one day is 1,000 years. So when it says 6 days, I believe after 6 literal days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John up. Absolutely, I believe that. But it doesn't mean that I don't think that God could have a deeper spiritual meaning and typology in using those words. What happens in essence here? Jesus takes his disciples after 6 days and is transfigured, and his face shines as the sun. And I believe it's a picture of what's coming in the future, which is the millennium, where Jesus will be on the earth and he will reign. Now, let's just have a look at a few reasons why I believe that in typology. Look at this word, as the sun. His face did shine as the sun. In the book of Malachi, the Lord is actually referred to by the word sun with a capital S. Look at here, Malachi chapter 4, verse 2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. See that there? S-U-N, capital S-U-N, the Son of Righteousness. That's Jesus Christ, but it's a capital S-U-N, like the sun. Now, I'm already nearly out of time, which is ridiculous, but let's just go back to Genesis and I'll explain why the 6 days is important. We can trace back the genealogy of Adam, all the way back to Adam, of Jesus all the way back to Adam, and see that the world has been here for about 6,000 years or so. Give or take, people have got different views. But I'm going to show you why I think we're at the verge of 6,000. Now, I've talked about this before, but let's have a look at it. Jesus was transfigured on that mountain, and his face did shine as the sun. Malachi 4 verse 2 called him the Son of Righteousness, S-U-N, with a capital S as in his name. So his typology to the sun is quite interesting. There's no mistake there. Now, in the beginning, God created, and he created on first day, second day, third day. And on the fourth day, over here, let there be lights and signs. These are the stars. And you go 2 great lights. The greater to rule the day. Now, that is the sun, verse 16. And then what did he say down here? Evening and the morning were the fourth day. So on the fourth day, God created, he put the sun in the sky. Now, when did we think Jesus Christ rocked up on human history? How many years into human history? About 4,000 years. If we're at 6,000 now, roughly, I would say from his death, Jesus arrived 4,000 years. And day with the Lord is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day. We've got 7 days of creation here, so to speak. And the sun arrives on the fourth day. Jesus Christ arrived on the fourth day in God's timetable, 4,000 years. And then there's 2 more days of creation, and then the 7th day is not actually a day of creation. So after the 6,000th year, or the 6th day is finished, what happens? God rested. And that's when the millennium would be. It's a picture of the millennium. And we'll go down here, we'll just read it real quick. 6th day, and he rested on the 7th day. And that's what the millennium is a picture of. It's the 7th day of rest. The devil will be bound for 1,000 years. Man, I'm at 6.5 minutes already. So I'm just finding it interesting that God uses that 1,000 years as 1 day and 1 year as 1,000 years. Jesus Christ, who is the SUN of righteousness, just like in Genesis, arrives on the 4th day, the 4,000th year. And we're now 2 more 1,000 years past Jesus Christ, 2 more days from the sun being put out, and we're nearly ready for the day of rest, which means the rapture could not be any closer. Anyway, that might have been a mixed mesh. Hopefully it makes a little bit of sense and is a blessing to you. Have a good day.